Welcome everyone to another edition of Take a Break with Bri. On today's show, we will be discussing hot topics and answering your viewer questions. Please be aware this vlog is adult content. Viewer discretion is advised. This is Take a Break with Bri. I am Bri, also widely known as brinkyboobri. Please feel free to comment on my Facebook live stream, and I will try my best to respond and answer all questions and comments. Please look out for the edited version of this live broadcast on my YouTube channel, brinkyboobri, where you can find season 1 and season 2 of Take a Break with Bri. So we're going to jump right in to the show. Our first topic for tonight is spare the rod, spoil the child. Now, I looked at an article from Focus on Family by Chip Ingram. And of course, he said that some people view that spanking a child is barbaric, and that those that do spank children are unenlightened. All right? But if you are a Christian and you believe with the word, as I am a Christian, the Bible says, do not spare the rod. All right? We have to decipher extremes. Some people go way to the extreme, and you should never hit a child with an open hand, a fist, or anything like that. If anything, the word says we should use a rod or I'm trying to get the word inanimate object. Thank you. Janae said to each their own. Absolutely. Now, when I grew up, it was the belt. Some people use switches. Some people use wooden spoons, but it's an inanimate object. And the reason why I stress that so much is that the child fears the object, not the hand of the parent, the mother or the father. Growing up, I wouldn't say I was a bad child. I don't think you should ever call a child bad, but I did misbehave quite often growing up. So I could tell you three major times I got a beating. I wasn't scared or fearful of my mother, in general, but I was afraid of the belt. So I think that if you are going to spank your child, it should be with an inanimate object. And the family that was described in this article, they used a wooden spoon. Maya said, she said, the hell them demon seeds. She also said, you're talking about white people. I'm not necessarily white people, just in general. Now, I do know in the African-American culture or black culture, spanking is somewhat the norm. And I do have to kind of agree with that assessment. It's because I think, in my opinion, is that blacks have had such a hard life and a struggle. So for a black child to misbehave, it's like, do you know how much I had to go through to birth you or to have you and to, tend to you and take care of you? It's almost like, how dare you misbehave? And, some people will say, oh, they children. So it's like you're going from one extreme to the other. You either too sensitive and you just say, time out, put them in a corner, or you're too aggressive and you're leaving bruises, okay? So we want to actually, in my opinion, find the happy medium. You should always find the happy medium in anything you do, because extremes can be detrimental. Maya said, brushes, combs, little sister or brother. Absolutely. Maya also said, kids nowadays are not the same as we were. which I absolutely agree. Which is another topic that I was thinking about talking on another show, is millennials and how the discipline is so different nowadays. And now that people are so fearful of going to jail for disciplining their child. Now, of course, I'm totally against abuse and beating your children. Okay? I definitely think there's an age. You should not be hitting or spanking a child that's 2 and under. 2 and under, their brain hasn't even encompassed right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? Maya said, beat that ass. Maya, I'm gonna get you, girl. So there's definitely extremes when it comes down to sparing the rod, spoil the child. Now, I also think on the one extreme, when you're too nice and you just say, oh, okay, Billy, just go sit in a corner and think about it. When you tell a child, now, so this is another thing. Somebody may say, well, Brianna, you don't have children. How can you have an opinion? I don't have children, but I am a child. And I was a child who received spankings. So this is where my perspective is. A child who did receive spankings. And by no means do I feel like I was abused. Okay? If anything, I would think it was discipline that actually showed me how I'm supposed to behave in certain places, in certain environments and things as such. So I actually felt like it was discipline. It wasn't something bad from my mother, because my mother is my world. So I was afraid of that belt, but I was never afraid of my mother's hands or her wrath. You know what I mean? Ilya said, I'll never beat my kids. It's horrible. It's okay. Beat your kids in Russia. And it shocks me. But see, I think, Ilya, when we use the word beat versus discipline, that's the difference. I'm not saying beat your child. I'm not saying slap them, punch them, nothing like that. But to take a child over the knee, pat him on that butt, I'm with that. You know what I'm saying? And I received that. And I would never no, I was not beat. I did receive discipline. I did receive spankings. But I think on the other side of it, when you put a child in the corner, they have too much time to think and process how to maneuver and get away with it. So in a way, by being too nice and giving the child too much time, meaning time outs, you give them too much time to play you. Kids are going to play. They're going to play the game. Whereas if you get a straight up beating, boom, you know that hurt. I'm never doing it again. And I did just say beating. I did. I meant spanking. Ilya said, law against beating kids, but violence in family is a regular thing. It definitely is. And I think it comes down to bruising. I never was bruised. It hurt. It definitely hurt. But again, I was afraid of the belt. I wasn't afraid of my mother or her hands. But again, the two differences, and I actually kind of preferred a spanking, because once I got a spanking, it was over with. It was done. I got the spanking. I didn't have to worry about being punished for 2, 3, 4 days. I got a spanking. That was it. And then I could do what I wanted to do the next day. So I personally, as a child, I preferred to get spanking because it was an immediate discipline. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have time to mull it over. I didn't have things taken from me. I wasn't punished. It was dealt with right then and there. So as I grew older, in my older life, you know, in my adolescence, even to this day, all my mother got to do is look at me. And, you know, y'all know that mother look, that you, even the father look. You get that look and they're like, and you already know. Whereas I feel like with time outs, the parent is talking too much. My mother don't have to say a word. A word. And I know I need to chill out. I need to, you know, bring it down. All right, I have some comments here. Corey said, well, I have 4 kids that are all different, but what I learned is that you have to instill fear, respect at an early age. And in my experience with my kids, spanking has worked along with love. Spanking has worked, things are moving, sorry. Spanking has worked along with love and explaining the reason for the spanking. Because if we go with the word, it says in Proverbs 13 and 24, do not spare the rod. Okay? Proverbs 22 and 15, folly is bound up in the heart of a child. Children are going to, play and be folly and misbehave. But the rod of discipline will drive it far from him. And that's the word. If we want to use this as the word in the Bible, which is what I was brought up as a Christian. You spare the rod, you spoil the child. Now, of course, I'm not talking about beating, abusing, bruising, open hand, fists. No, again, inanimate objects. The fear, the respect of the wooden spoon or the belt. That's the difference. And then what Corey said, explanation. This is why you're getting it. And like I said, as a child, I preferred the spanking. I really did. Because I didn't want to go sit in a corner. Oh, my Lord. Janae said, some just spank, but don't talk to the child or teach the child why they were wrong. It's a way to do things. Absolutely. And what do I always say, everybody? Communication. Communication is key. Vlad said in Russia, every third mother may shout at their child in bad language in the supermarket. I don't think that is discipline. And I absolutely agree. Lala Wood, who is my sister, will tell you, she said you cried before I even said anything, which is so true. Because I knew that belt hurt. That belt hurt. I started busting out crying. I definitely did. I probably still to this day cry. Vlad said sometimes a child fears one parent and one scares a child the other when he misbehaves. I think this is correct. So a lot of times you fear the father. You fear the mother, and then you're like, well, I guess maybe for girls. Girls are like daddy's little girls, and then vice versa. So that's definitely a difference in the sexes and then in the parents. So my dad, he left the household when I was 9. So right as I was getting from, the young child to my adolescent years, he wasn't there. Mom's there. And I did misbehave quite a lot. I will definitely say I did. And I can remember 3 significant discipline situations, but I never did it again. Faith said I got beat with the broomstick. See, an inanimate object. Lala said you do, meaning I did. I cry a lot. I do. It's like somebody can turn on the waterworks and it just flows down. But I do want to say in regards to this topic, whenever you do spank a child, you have to bring communication with it. You have to be clear and you have to have concise communication and let them know. And half the time they already know, but you want to make sure communication is key, which I think what Corey was saying, he talks to them and explains to them in a loving manner. And we have to make sure we follow up because kids will play that game. A lot of parents will yell and scream. You better shut that noise before I get you. You better da-da-da-da-da, and you'll never do it. You never do it. So failing to follow up causes a rift. I can tell you this much. Again, I don't have kids, but as a child who was spanked, mama, she followed up. she followed up. So I didn't have a problem. Janae said, yelling doesn't always work either. Absolutely. I think yelling doesn't work at all. Lala said, now we know where your niece gets it from. Yes, probably. But I did want to say in regards to yelling, the oh my gosh, it's like a pet peeve of mine. The worst thing I hate, and I shouldn't use that word, maybe detest, but I really do hate. I hate when I see parents curse at their children. Oh, it just burns me so bad. I cannot stand when parents are like, you little did and done and blah. You know, y'all know I don't like to use profanity. I'm just like, oh, it burns my gears so bad. Stop cursing at your children. And then when they go to school and they cursing somebody out, all of a sudden you surprised. No, and then when you telling that your child they bad, oh, he a little bad thing. Stop telling them they bad. They'll never have any type of positivity. My mom think I'm bad. My dad think I'm bad. I might as well be bad. I can tell you this much. My mother never said I was bad. I misbehaved, but I always knew I was smart. I always knew I was beautiful. I always knew I was intelligent. I always knew I could do better than what I was doing, which made me feel confident. It's so much sometimes that I talked back to my teachers. You ain't my mother. I can say what I want to say because I'm beautiful and I'm bold and I'm this and I'm brilliant. You can't tell me what to do. Hello. So maybe it played in the wrong direction, but my mother always told me I was beautiful and smart and I could do anything I wanted to do. Hello. We got some comments here. Let's see. Faith said they were particular about making sure we knew what we did was wrong. Absolutely talking. She also said, yes, don't curse at the child. They grow up thinking that's how you talk to people. Absolutely. Vlad said a great punishment for discipline to present a toy and pick it up. Mistake of the year. We talking about the Oscars, the biggest mistake of the year. Tiffany said, that is true. My daughter is a daddy's girl and my son a mama's boy. He fears my husband and my daughter fears me more. But if I spank my son or my husband spanks my daughter, they cry like we broke. They cry. I missed my place. Let me see. Oh, they cry like we broke their heart. We spank ours, but explain why and what they did wrong. Yes. It's hard for me to spank my son, though, LOL. And it's hard for my husband to spank my daughter. We always call the other if something happened, LOL. Janae said, speak life and positivity into your kids. Absolutely. And that's exactly what my mom did. I did give her a hard time. And I think that a lot of it had to do with the dynamics of my identity. Because as I've shared before, you know, my mom's 5'2" and light skinned, and I'm 6 feet tall and dark skinned. My dad is 6'3", so when he left, it affected me in a lot of ways. It did, and even as I was perceived by the outside world, really kind of played on my mind a bit. So I always felt different than my mom and my sisters growing up a lot of the times. But she always encouraged me, again, probably, I don't want to say too much because you can never have too much encouragement. But she always reminded me that I was wise and I was beautiful and that I could do anything that I put my mind to. And as you can see, especially with, you know, how I speak, a lot of people are like, think I'm screaming, but I'm not. I've been trained to project. But I feel like I speak with confidence, and that all stems from the encouragement and the positivity that I got from my mother and my siblings, that it's okay to be bold. It's okay to be, excuse me, that water, y'all. It's okay, you know, to do these things. And once we moved, we were in Baltimore City and then we moved to Baltimore County. So once we moved from the city to the county, my behavior did change for the better. And so much positive things came out of the move. And in a way, my mother, she recognized what was going on with me, and she moved us to Baltimore County and encouraged me to get involved with school and church and things like that. So, I mean, I was able to travel to Europe, and at 16, I did a grand tour of Europe. I visited 6 countries, but I really misbehaved in elementary school and middle school. Like, I don't know if Charity is still on here. She's my friend from elementary school. I really misbehaved. Probably got suspended 3 times. I mean, I was, I did some stuff. So when I went, people were surprised when I tell them the difference between elementary and high school and the difference with my behavior. I was encouraged to do better. I wasn't constantly, you bad, you bad, you bad. You know what I mean? So we have some comments here. Ilya said, Vlad, haha, I remember how my mom took my new cell phone from me for misbehaving when I was 8. I still feel offense. It hit you hard, didn't it? Maya said, big mouth. Hey, absolutely. My big mouth in elementary, middle school got me in trouble. I could be in a group of people at a table and the teacher be like, Brianna, you talking. And I wouldn't even be talking. It wasn't even me. But because I was the tallest, I was the biggest, I was normally the loudest, it always was Brianna, Brianna, Brianna. No. So when I moved into Baltimore County, I could use my big mouth for good. I got on the STA. I was on It's Academic. Y'all remember It's Academic? Yes. I was on the It's Academic team. Yes, I was. The choir, theater. I did so many things in high school. I was in 27 organizations by the time my senior year came around. 27 clubs and organizations in high school. Basically, my extracurriculars is what paid for my college education. The extracurriculars. Not even the academics, the extracurriculars. Yes. So, Corey said, he said, listen, this world is no joke. Sometimes you have to use tough love, and it's not to agitate or annoy the child, but it's because as parents, adults, our job is to lead and guide them, not be their friends. Absolutely. Not be their friends all the time, but discipline in all caps. I agree. Them in love, discipline in love, encourage them and expect nothing but the best. And I absolutely agree. And I absolutely receive that from my mom. My mom gave me tough love and discipline with love. And she made the most perfect decision to move me from Baltimore City to Baltimore County. Like, it changed my life for good. For good was that song from Wicked. For good. Vlad said, what do you think about bad habits? If the child smokes, you should make him smoke the whole pack of cigarettes. Woo! Now, Russia is a little bit different culture, but here you have to be 18 to smoke cigarettes. So after 18, you're considered an adult. And I think at that point, only the parent can do is encourage you not to smoke. Now, if you live in their household, they can say what, their rules are. But you definitely, here in America, you have to be 18 to even buy a pack of cigarettes. So you shouldn't encourage a child to have bad habits. Drinking, smoking, all kinds of smoking. Y'all know what I mean. Janae said, I agree, Corey. Faith said, my dad was sure to encourage my sisters and I to be courageous and bold. Absolutely. Lila said, I discipline and love, but it's a fine line that not all can navigate. My daughter will tell me she won't be my friend if I don't allow her to do what she wants. And she knows my response. But, that's okay because I'm her mother and I always will be. Absolutely. Faith said, yes, Wicked. You know the song I'm talking about, Faith. Absolutely. And I think that once, I would say maybe about after 18, maybe not even 18, around 16, 17, I started moving into where my mom became my friend. When you're in that point of learning how to be an adult, your parents shouldn't be your friend. But once you are an adult, and you move out of their household, then at that point, your parent really does become your friend. And I can truly say my mom is my friend. I respect her to no end. I respect her opinion. I respect everything she says. I respect when she gives me feedback, even on my shows. But she also respects that I am adult now. But if I was to do something, she would give me the look. At 36, she still will give me the look. Vlad said Russian children find a way to buy alcohol at the age of 12. Wow. Here in America, it's a big it's a big deal if child is drinking and smoking. I mean, you can have jail time. I mean, it's bad over here. But it is 9 o'clock. We have done a lot on this first topic. I did want to leave you with spare the rod, spoil the child. And if I can make any recommendations as a child who did receive spankings, and I can say I turned out okay, is that you should use an inanimate object. Do not ever use your hands. Your open fist or open hand is what I meant to say, or beating to where you leave a bruise. Now, you got people who are light, so you'll see something there. But I'm talking about significant breaking bones and so forth and so on. You should never, ever, ever beat your child to that extreme. But then I also don't think you should be so nice and just send them and put them in a corner, because you're giving them too much time to contemplate, oh, how can I do this differently next time? Lala said, yes, but because the respect was instilled, the friendship is different. She's my friend, but not my girlfriend. Which is true, Lala, which is my sister. However, I catch myself when I'm talking to mommy, and I be like, girl, guess what? I mean, ma, guess what? Because I'm so comfortable in talking to her now, that I find myself slipping into that type of language with her. And I always want to be like, girl, today at work. And I be like, I mean, ma. And she say, it's fine, it's fine. And, you know, she enjoys that we are her friend and we see her as our friend. But at the end of the day, that's still my mom's. That's still mommy, right? Faith said, my dad still has a hard time accepting my sisters and I as adults. My mom always has to remind him we are grown and we have to make mistakes. Absolutely. Vlad said, and that's why I love your country. Vlad is from Russia. We got our problems too. Trust and believe, we have our problems too. So, that is the end of our first topic. That was a good one, everybody. We talked a lot on that one. So, the second topic that we are going to jump into, since it's 9 o'clock, I'm going to save church songs. I'm going to save secular songs for in the church for another episode. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into, since I have two Russian folks in here, and it is 9 o'clock, I'm going to jump to, should Americans be required to learn Spanish? No. We should not be required to learn Spanish because Spanish is so prevalent in our country. However, we should be encouraged and even to some extent pushed to learn Spanish because it is prevalent, and or other languages. Okay? Now, I say all this to say that as a polyglot is a person who speaks more than one language. Excuse me. You have those who are bilingual, so they speak two. Trilingual, 3. Polyglot is many, 4 more. Okay? So, Hallo, mijn naam is Bri. Danke on pause mit Bri. German. I'm learning German because I play a game called Mao, and everybody on Mao speaks German. So I'm learning German. All right. Меня зовут Bri. Спасибо за перевод, Bri. Russian. My friends are from Russia, and I have a huge following in Russia on my Periscope channel. So I started learning Russian. Okay. Sign language. I've learned sign language since 11th grade. Okay, and I know a good circle of friends who are deaf, and they also sign in church. Okay, so I haven't actually signed for a while, quite some time, but I also sign language. I can communicate with deaf. All right, and bonjour, je m'appelle Bri. Merci pour prendre une pause avec Bri. Français, French. French was my first language I ever learned, ever. So we have English. I'm learning German. I'm learning Russian. I know sign language, and I know French. 5 languages. Now, the benefits of learning a language. Now, if you were to learn a language, I would suggest learning French, because 33% of the English language is French. I think it's the easiest language to learn. I mean, really, besides sign language, because with sign language, everything is like, makes sense. So eat, all female signs are down here, male signs are here, because men are head of the household, females are here. So mom, dad, grandma, granddad, milk. This is milk. So you're pulling on the udders of the cow. This is milk. Sign language just makes sense. And it's such a fun language to learn. And then French, like I said, 33% of English is French. Croissant. Okay. And Barack Obama said in July 8th, 2008, everyone else can speak multiple languages. And then when Americans go to other countries, like say we go to France, all we can say is merci beaucoup. We are so behind the rest of the world. We are. But should it be Spanish? I say, why not? Seeing as where Spanish is the second most used language in our country. Believe it or not, even though with such a melting pot that we do have, and that 33% of the English language is French, you would think French, but a lot of people use Spanish. Should we be required to learn the language? No, I don't think so. But I personally encourage folks to learn a language. And I believe, in my opinion, the easiest one is French and sign language. Learning Russian has actually been pretty fun. I've been saying privet and spasiba and ya vas lublю, which means I love you. And then the German. Elizabeth said, hola, ¿cómo está? Which means, hello, how are you? And I only know that because that's like a regular phrase. So I think that we should encourage Americans to learn multiple languages, but we should not make it a requirement by any means at all. And did you know, and I got this from TED Ed on YouTube, being bilingual can actually offset diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia. Because with these languages, your brain is active, it's healthy. It's almost like doing switching from one language to another, you're doing exercises. So when I just switched from 5 different languages, my brain is moving, it's working. So it actually sets off diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia. So if anything, I encourage people to learn a language, and it's never too late. Is it easier for a child to learn it? Yes, because they can use both sides of their brain, left and the right, the logical and the creative sides. Whereas we as adults, we tend just to use the left, the logical. We tend to be less creative because we're so worried about bills, and more bills. Hello. So, but it's never too late. And when you have people around you, like my friends Ilya and Vlad, they speak to me in English because they want to practice their English. And then I actually, on my cell phone, I have 2 keyboards. I have an English keyboard and then I have a Russian keyboard. So I try to respond back to them when I actually do my practicing. I've kind of not been doing it. But I actually use my Russian keyboard and respond because they have different letters than we do. And it's so exciting. Oh, let me tell you all. I went to Ocean City and it was a huge Russian community that was working at Ocean City. And there was a guy working at Subway, and just by his English accent, I knew he was Russian. So I was like, Privet, Kegdela, which means how are you? I said, Privet Kegdela. He said, Horosho, which means I'm good, I'm fine. And then he said, and you? And I said, I'm good. He said, how did you know I was Russian? I said, just how you were speaking. I felt so smart. Yes, I did. And then when I went to Rite Aid or something, the girl that was working at Rite Aid in Ocean City, she was Russian. So I said the same thing to her. I felt so awesome. And then, especially in the job that I work at, I came in contact with people who are deaf, working with the mobility services. So when I come in contact with someone who's deaf, boom, I know how to say hi, can I help you? How is your day? Everything good? I can say my name, I can communicate with them. And when people feel like you have taken the time, not only does it make them feel good, it makes you feel good. And it cuts down on the chances of Alzheimer's. I think it should be a requirement in grade school. Not just Spanish, but any foreign language. So at a young age, children can learn about other cultures and not be afraid of them or judge them. I agree with that, actually. In school. Now, I know in school you have to have two language requirements in school. Two language credits in school. I do know that. But maybe it needs to start earlier. Now, my niece, I think she's learning Spanish. And so every now and again, I will tell her, she knows how to say privet. She knows how to say spasiba. We even do British accents, like, you know what I mean? A little British accent for her. You know what I mean? So, I say, you know what I mean a lot. So, getting my niece involved, I signed to her, not as often as my sister would like, but I do kind of agree that they should have a choice. But there should be a language requirement because Americans are so far behind when it comes down to being multilingual, being polyglots. We are so far behind the rest of the world. Let's see, Ilya, he said, I think majority shouldn't be made to learn someone's language. It's a lot of people in Russia who come from different regions in big cities and don't want to learn Russian. My mom is a seller. Okay, sorry, y'all. The comments come up and then I missed what I was reading. My mom is a seller and some costumers just come and becoming angry because she doesn't understand their language. But why should she? I mean, that's a good question, but I think if she wants to be more available and reach more people, why wouldn't she? Wouldn't she? I mean, that's the thing with me. Even though you and Vlad can communicate to me in English and you want to practice English, I think it's but right for me to take the time to learn Russian to communicate with you. You know, maybe it shouldn't necessarily be a requirement as an adult, but I do kind of agree. In school, I think we should start earlier for it to be a requirement. It is a requirement right now in high school. You have to have at least 2 credits of a foreign language. But I think we need to start a little earlier so we can catch up. You know what I mean? And I want to tell you all a little story real quick. I was in France. This is when I was 16. And I knew French. I had been taking French maybe since like 7th grade. So I had 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. I was on my 5th year of taking French. So I was pretty proficient. And I walk into a McDonald's and I start ordering my food in French. And the girl said, I speak English. And I said, je parle français. You know, I speak French. You know, she just wanted to just assume because I was American that I didn't know French or that I wasn't even going to attempt to try. And it's like people in foreign countries think that Americans are so stiff. They don't want to learn other languages. And that's the thing. I think we need to get out of that. And we need to encourage people, not require adults, but I would say make it a requirement in school. I really kind of do agree with that as a class because languages are fun. Elizabeth said, I know how to spell my name in sign language. I know that's right. Vlad said, so true. Same story with me, an American man, or English in the metro. Absolutely. Metro, subway. Lala said, kids aren't naturally afraid or judging of others just because there's a difference. That's true. They are taught. I do think they are taught prejudices. They are taught how to judge. Faye said Americans have been spoiled. That is so true. So true. Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. And it's so funny because we are a mountain pot. We have so many people from all over. Like when I was in college, I lived in the international dorm. So I had people from all walks of life. I even had a group of friends from Pakistan, and I would watch their movies. There was one movie, couldn't tell you the name of it, but there's a song that's Kuch Kuta Hota Hai, Kuch Kuta Hota Hai, Kuch Kuta Hota Hai. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Love it. And I'll remember it to this day. Kuch Kuta Hota Hai. Yes. My sister said my niece is learning Spanish, French, and sign language. Yes, they should be open to the ability to learn another language. Absolutely. Ilya said, because there are a lot of languages in Russia and she can't learn all of them, they should learn Russian because they live here and it's an official language. I agree with that, but I do think that to be more available, even if it's just, hello, how may I help you? The bathroom is that way. It costs this much. Like your 5 blanket phrases. Hello, goodbye, thank you, have a nice day. Those 4 will put a smile on that customer's face. I guarantee it. Even if you just said, hello, goodbye, how are you, have a nice day. Because, Ilya, tell me this. How does it make you feel when I speak to you in Russian? Or I make the attempt to talk to you in Russian? And I haven't done it much lately, but how does that make you feel that I actually took the time out to learn Russian words? Janae said, in elementary school, I agree. Lala, she said, if you are going to move to another country, it is your responsibility to conform to them and their language, not the other way around. Yes, I do agree with that, but I do think we as the natives of this country should learn at least the 4 phrases. We can learn and then somebody who's attempting to try, you know, because that girl in France in Paris, she really made me mad. She made me mad because I was telling her my order in French, and I knew I was doing really pretty well. I mean, I was been speaking French for 5 years, and for her to say, "Oh, you ain't got to speak French. I know English, honey. I got this. Let me try." You know, so I just think Americans, we need to do better. We need to do better. Vlad said, if English is a universal language, that means everyone should learn it. That's the misconception. Everyone thinks English is the universal language. And I can just say English is just kind of like the go-to. Because I wonder, Vlad and Ilya, perfect people to ask. If you're talking to someone in Spain, do you speak Russian or do you speak Spanish, or do you assume both of you know English? So that's my question. As a Russian native speaker, when you're speaking to another country, Spain, France, do y'all speak one of each other's languages, or do you speak English? That's interesting. Ilya said, it's very nice when you speak Russian. Right. Elizabeth said, I want to learn how to speak Spanish because so many people at my school speak Spanish. So I want to be able to speak it because I feel like I can't be friends because they don't know English and I don't know Spanish. So, this is the thing, everybody. We got 5 minutes. Oh, Lord, we've been rolling. I've been losing track of time tonight. So, in regards to you can't be friends, but we have to realize that foreigners coming into the country, without a doubt, they're going to have to learn English to survive. You have to learn English to survive. But if you are a business owner or you work in a service position, a waitress, a bus driver, toll booth operator, if you work with the public, you should want to learn a couple phrases, a couple words of all kinds of languages. And this game in Mao, I play Mao. I am like, we have a group. So my group, I'm the group leader. And there's 21 of us in this group. And all 20 of them speak German. I'm the only English speaker in this card game that I play online. So when I send a text message to my group, I say what I want to say in English, and then I translate it into German. So by doing the translation, I've actually picked up some German words. And as you can see, hallo, mein Name ist Bri. Hello, my name is Bri. It's you'll be surprised the similarities in our languages. It's so much fun. Maybe it's just me, but it's so much fun. Ilya said, I would speak English there, but I'd learned some Spanish phrases. That was to go to my question of when he goes to Spain, does he speak Spanish or does he speak English? He speaks English, which is so interesting. Going back to what I think Janae said about Americans being spoiled. We are spoiled. We're so spoiled that when Russians go to Spain, they speak English, not Spanish or Russian. That's interesting. That's very, very interesting. Lala said, I am learning other languages, but not to use so much as to know what others are saying when they think I don't understand. Absolutely. I do that a lot, especially in 7-Eleven today. I didn't know what the girl was saying, but I pretended that I did. Because sign language, you have to learn nonverbal communication. So even though I didn't know the words she was saying, her body language, I knew what she was saying. So she was telling a joke about the guy that was in front of me in line. I knew exactly what she said, and I started laughing. And she looked at me like, you know what I'm saying? I just said, like that. Like, okay, you know. Vlad said English. because it's universal. If I don't know Spanish and the Spaniard doesn't know Russian, we speak English. If he was taught, or the sign language. That is amazing. That is amazing. So everybody, it is almost that time. We've been doing so much tonight. If you learn more than one language, multiple languages, 3 things that it does to your brain. And I got this from YouTube TED Ed channel. More healthy, your brain becomes more complex, and it is actively engaged. And as a tidbit, it can offset diseases of Alzheimer's and dementia. So should Americans be required to learn Spanish? Yes. Not Spanish, but be a requirement as early as elementary school. Yes, I agree. I believe so. But I think they should be able to choose which language, if not multiple languages. I can say being a polyglot has only opened up so many creative doors for me. And it's so much fun. Vlad said, that's why I love your country again. Lala said, but is it American English or British English? Ooh, good question. Vlad and Ilya, when you go to Spain and you speak Spanish, when you go to Spain and you speak English, is it American English or the Queen's English? Vlad said, I learn to speak, but the spelling kills me. I'm trying to learn. Ooh, Japanese. Japanese is hard. You know, they have like 5 categories of languages from easy to hard. Japanese is up there in category 5. It's a category 5 language. It's extremely, extremely hard. And I'm so glad that Vlad and Ilya were here. You brought such a good perspective to the conversation. Ilya said, I speak American English because I learned it, but it depends from the people. Someone could speak British. So it seems like American English is kind of like the go-to, the slang. Even though I think earlier, Ilya, you said metro, which would be a British word, because we tend to say subway or train. They say the L train in like Chicago. So we have so many dialects here in America. But I definitely slide into different accents every now and again. Oh, it was Vlad. Okay. Vlad said, in Russia, schools teach British English, but in high school, I got little knowledge. I taught English in the internet due to movies with subs. I think I speak bad American English. You speak amazing. I cannot even process to say that in Russian. Vlad and Ilya, you are amazing. I understand exactly what you're saying. And for you to understand what I'm saying at such a fast pace is amazing. So you guys did great. Everyone did so great. It is 9:36. We did not get a chance to get to the hashtag Ask Bri, nor did we get to the chance to get to our Brinky Boo's top 3 brilliant behaviors. So we're going to have a lot to talk about in our next episode, episode 9. This was such a good show. I'm so excited. And that we were able to talk about spare the rod, spoil the child, and should Americans learn Spanish, be required to learn Spanish. Lisa said, Lala Wood said, Americans speak bad American English, which is so true. Faith said, Bri, your laugh is awesome. Thank you. That's my sister friend, Faith. Thank you all so much. I'm so sorry. Remember, follow, like, share, subscribe. There should be a share button right in the corner. You can share this video, this show tonight on Facebook, on all your social media platforms, and let people know that you took a break with Bri today. So I'm going to leave you with the 5 languages that are, hello, my name is Bri. Thank you for taking a break with Bri. Hallo, mon nom ist Bri. Donc on pause mit Bri. German. That was German. Меня зовут Bri. Спасибо за Paris, Bri. Russian. Sign language. Bonjour, je m'appelle Bri. Merci pour prendre une pause avec Bri. French. Hello, my name is Bri. Thank you for taking a break with Bri. Good night.